Hare Krishna, this is Govardhan Leela. Is anyone there?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I am here.
Very good.
Leela Manjari.
Hare Krishna, Leela Manjari Mataji, how are you? Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept mine, Mataji. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. I don't think we are the only ones. Someone else must be there, but I don't know who. Hare Krishna. Is it Premarasa? Yeah, Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories.
Hare Krishna.
To Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, sorry, for the longest time it kept saying I was the only person, so I have to again call like 2 times before I could find you all on the call. Okay, maybe we can get started. It's already late. Okay. మీతో ఇంకెవరైనా ఉన్నారా కాల్ మీద? Okay, so we'll start with the prayer. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya
Yena Tasmai Shri Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakantarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayad Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Okay, so we are going to read the translations today from chapter 3, Canto 3, chapter 3, and then we will discuss verse 1 and 2. Okay. Yeah, 1 and 2. So anyone has a book and would like to read from the translation? We can do as we do usually, like 5 verses. Each one of us can take turns and read 5 verses.
Oh, okay. I have a book, Mataji.
Sure, Mataji, we can start. We can do the first 5 and then we can see who else can read.
Okay, that's fine. Sri Uddhava said, thereafter Lord Krishna went to Mathura city with Sri Baladev, and to please their parents they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. Text 2. The Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher, Sandipani Muni, whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka. 3. Attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, many great princes and kings assembled to marry her, but Lord Krishna, stepping over the other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar. 4. By subduing 7 bulls, whose noses were not pierced. The Lord achieved the hand of Princess Nagnagiti in the open competition to select her bridegroom. Although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked the hand of the princess, and thus there was a fight. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed or wounded all of them, but he was not hurt himself. 5. Just to please his dear wife, the Lord brought back the Parijata tree from heaven, just as an ordinary husband would do. But Indra, the king of heaven, induced by his wives, henpecked as he was, ran after the Lord with full force to fight him.
Text 6. And these are the name of the chapter is the Lord's pastimes out of Vrindavan. So these are all the events that happened after he reached Mathura, and some of them happened in Dwaraka. Text 6 translation. Narakasura, the son of Dharitri, the earth, tried to grasp the whole sky, and for this he was killed by the Lord in a fight. His mother then prayed to the Lord. This led to the return of the kingdom to the son of Narakasura, and thus the Lord entered the house of the demon. Text 7. There in the house of the demon, all the princesses kidnapped by Narakasura at once became alert upon seeing the Lord, the friend of the distressed. They looked upon him with eagerness, joy, and shyness, and offered to be his wives. 8. All those princesses were lodged in different apartments, and the Lord simultaneously assumed different bodily expansions, exactly matching each and every princess. He accepted their hands in perfect rituals by his internal potency. 9. Just to expand himself according to his transcendental features, the Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offspring with exactly his own qualities. 10. Kalyavana, the king of Magadha and Salva, attacked the city of Mathura. But when the city was encircled by their soldiers, the Lord refrained from killing them personally just to show the power of his own men. Anyone else who has a book? If not, then I can read.
Mataji, I can read.
Okay, yes, Mataji. Sure.
Text 11. O king like Sambhara, Divida, Bhana, Mura, Bhalvara, and many other demons, such as Dhantavakra, some he killed himself and some he caused to be killed by others, Sri Baladeva, etc. Text 12 translation. Then, O Vidura, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong that the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the war field. Text 13 translation. Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune and duration of life because of the intricacy of ill advice given by Karna, Dushasana, and Subhala. When he lay on the ground with his followers, his thighs broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene. Text 14 translation. After the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Akshunis, has now been effected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhima. But what is this? There is still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty born of myself, which may be a more unbearable burden. Text 15 translation. When they quarrel among themselves, influenced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking madhu, they then only they will disappear. Otherwise, it will be possible. On my disappearance, this incident will take place.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is text 16. Lord Shri Krishna, thus thinking to himself, established Maharaj Yudhishthir in the position of supreme control of the world in order to show the idol of administration on the path of piety. 17. The embryo of Puru descendant, begotten by the great hero Abhimanyu, in the womb of Uttara, his wife, was burnt by the weapon of the son of Drona, but later he was again protected by the Lord. 18. The Supreme Lord induced the son of Dharma to perform 3 horse sacrifices, and Maharaj Yudhishthir, constantly following Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, protected and enjoyed the earth, assisted by his young brothers. Simultaneously, the Personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dwaraka, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. He was situated in detachment and knowledge, and enunciated by the Sankhya system of philosophy. 20. He was there in his transcendental body, the residence of the goddess of fortune, with his usual gentle and sweetly smiling face, his nectarian words, and his flawless character.
Text 21. The Lord enjoyed his pastimes both in this world and in other worlds, higher planets, specifically in the association of the Yadu dynasty. At leisure hours offered by night, he enjoyed the friendship of conjugal love with women. 22. The Lord was thus engaged in household life for many, many years, but at last his detachment from ephemeral sex life was fully manifested. 23. Every living entity is controlled by a supernatural force, and thus his sense enjoyment is also under the control of that supernatural force. No one, therefore, can put his faith in Lord Krishna's transcendental sense activities, but one who has become a devotee of the Lord by rendering devotional service. 24. Once upon a time, great sages were made angry by the sporting activities of the princely descendants of the Yadu and Bhoja dynasties, and thus, as desired by the Lord, the sages cursed them. 25. A few months passed, and then, bewildered by Krishna, all the descendants of Vrishni, Bhoja, and Andaka, who were incarnations of demigods, went to Prabhasa, while those who were eternal devotees of the Lord did not leave, but remained in Dvaraka.
Okay, 26. Okay, Vishali Mataji, go ahead.
Okay, Mataji. Text 26, translation. After arriving there, all of them took baths, and with the water of this place of pilgrimage, they offered their respects to the forefathers, the demigods and great sages, and thus satisfied them. They gave cows to the Brahmanas in royal charity. Text 27 translation. The Brahmanas were not on the Brahmanas were not only given well-fed cows in charity, but also gold coins, bedding, clothing, animal skin seats, blankets, horses, elephants, girls, and sufficient land for maintenance. Text 28 translation. Thereafter, they offered the Brahmanas highly delicious foodstuffs, first offered to the personality of Godhead, and offered their respectful obeisances by touching their heads to the ground. They lived perfectly by protecting the cows and the Brahmanas. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta puppet of the third canto, third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Lord's Pastimes Out of Vrindavana.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you all for listening. So today we are going to read text 1 and 2. Okay, so text 1. Ito vacha tata sa agyata puram swapitrus chikir saya sambaladeva samyuta nirpatya tungadripuyutyanatham hatam vyakhar sad vyasum ojasorvayam. Translation. Sri Uddhava said, therefore Lord Krishna went to Mathura city with Sri Baladev, and to please their parents they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. King Kamsa's death is only briefly described here because such pastimes are vividly and elaborately described in the 10th canto. The Lord proved to be the worthy son of his parents even at the age of 16 years. Both brothers, Lord Krishna and Lord Baladev, went to Mathura from Vrindavan and killed their maternal uncle, who had given so much trouble to their parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. Kamsa was a great giant, and Vasudeva and Devaki never thought that Krishna and Baladev, would be able to kill such a great and strong enemy. When the two brothers attacked Kamsa on the throne, their parents feared that now Kamsa would finally get the opportunity to kill their sons, whom they had hidden so long in the house of Nanda Maharaj. The parents of the Lord, due to parental affection, felt extreme danger, and they almost fainted. Just to convince them that they had already killed Kamsa, Krishna and Baladev pulled Kamsa's dead body along the ground to encourage them. Okay, I'll read the second verse also, and then we can read the stories. Okay, so this is text 2. Sandipane sakrit proktam brahmaditya savishtaram tasmai pradatvaram putram vrityum pancha janodharat. Translation. The Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher Sandipani Muni, whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka. Purport. No one but the Supreme Lord can become well versed in all the branches of Vedic wisdom simply by hearing once by his teacher. Nor can anyone bring a dead body back to life after the soul has already gone to the region of Yamaraj. But Lord Krishna ventured to the planet of Yamaloka and found the dead son of his teacher and brought him back to his father as a reward for the instructions received. The Lord is constitutionally well versed in all the Vedas, and yet to teach by example that everyone must go to learn the Vedas from an authorized teacher and must satisfy the teacher by service and reward, he himself adopted the system. The Lord offered his services to his teacher, Sandipani Muni, and the Muni, knowing the power of the Lord, asked something which was impossible to be done by anyone else. The teacher asked that his beloved son, who had died, be brought back to him, and the Lord fulfilled his request. The Lord is not, therefore, an ingrate to anyone who renders him some sort of service. The devotees of the Lord who always engage in his loving service are never to be disappointed in the progressive march of devotional service. Okay, so both of these verses, these pastimes of Krishna outside of Vrindavan, they come in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Like it is mentioned, it says that there is a more descriptive explanation in the 10th canto, and here Uddhava is actually mentioning those pastimes in a very, very brief way. So the same 10th canto description is also given in the Krishna book, but I just thought that I'm going to read from the 10th canto itself, because the description there is only 2 pages. But in Krishna book, it's even more elaborate. So being sensitive of time, I just thought that I will read from the 10th canto. So this speaks about the killing of Kamsa. That's the first verse we read. So here it says, this is 10th canto, chapter 45. This chapter tells how Krishna and Balaram killed the wrestlers, how Krishna killed Kamsa and consoled Kamsa's wife, and how the two lords were reunited with their mother and father. Deciding to wrestle, Lord Krishna faced off against Chanura, and Lord Baladev took on Mushtika. Battling arm to arm, head to head, knee to knee and chest to chest, the opponents attacked each other so fiercely that they appeared to be harming even their own bodies. The ladies in the arena, seeing the violent battle, began to condemn the king and all the members of the assembly. A respectable audience should never have allowed a wrestling match between such huge wrestlers whose limbs are as tough as lightning bolts, and such tender young boys who are just entering youth. An intelligent person should never enter an assembly, even if he sees injustice being done there. Because Vasudeva and Devaki did not fully understand the power of Kamsa and Balaram, they became extremely unhappy when they heard the women of the audience speak these words. Sri Krishna then grabbed Chanura's arms, whirled him around several times and threw him to the ground, killing him. Mushtika met a similar fate. After being struck powerfully by Lord Balram's palm, he began vomiting blood and then fell down dead. Thereupon the wrestlers named Kuta, Shala and Toshala came forward, but Krishna and Balram easily killed them with the bows of their fists and feet. The remaining wrestlers, fearing for their lives, all fled. Except for Kamsa, everyone present cheered Krishna and Balaram. The king, in a rage, stopped the festive music and ordered that Vasudev, Nanda, Ugrasena, and all the cowherds be severely punished, and that Krishna and Balaram be driven from the assembly. Krishna, being furious when he heard Kamsa speak this way, he incessantly leapt on the lofty royal dais. He grabbed Kamsa by his hair, hurled him down onto the floor of the wrestling ring, and threw himself on top of him. In this way, Kamsa met his death. Because out of fear, Kamsa had always thought of Krishna, after his death, he gained the liberation of having a form like the Lord's. Kamsa's 8 brothers then attacked Krishna, but Balram easily killed each of them with his club. just as a lion kills defenseless animals. Kettle drums resounded in the sky as the joyous demigods rained down flowers and chanted the glories of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram. The wives of Kamsa, grieved for their husband, lamented that he had died because of his violence towards other living entities and his lack of respect for Krishna, the Supreme Soul, who creates, maintains, and destroys the entire universe. The Lord consoled the widows, had the funeral rites performed for Kamsa and his brothers, and then released his mother and father from bondage. Krishna offered obeisances at his parents' feet, but they, now understanding him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, did not embrace him. Actually, it is said that is the difference between the pastimes of Vrindavan and the pastimes of Mathura, where the divinity of Krishna is, we can see more elaborately. Like the last line here, it describes that their parents, they could actually see, they knew, because Kamsa is such a strong demon, like an enemy. But he was very easily killed by Krishna. So everyone knew that it is not possible for an ordinary child to kill Kamsa in that way. So because the divinity of Krishna was revealed, the parents of Krishna, Vasudeva and Devaki, they did not embrace Krishna. They actually saw that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even when Krishna was born, he appeared with his 400 form Vishnu. And Vasudeva and Devaki, they both saw him in that way. So we'll read the second verse and then we will discuss more. So this is from the second, this is Canto 10, Chapter 45. Krishna rescues his teacher's son. This chapter describes how Lord Krishna consoled Devaki, Vasudeva and Nand Maharaj and installed Ugrasena as king. He also relates how Krishna and Balaram completed their education, retrieved the dead son of their guru, and then returned home. Noting that his parents, Vasudeva and Devaki, had realized his true position as God, Sri Krishna expanded his Yogamaya to again make them think of him as their dear child. Then, with Lord Balaram, Krishna approached them and said how unhappy he was that he and they had been unable to enjoy the mutual satisfaction of parents and children who live together. Then he stated, even in a lifetime of 100 years, no son can ever repay the debt he owes his parents, for whom he receives his very body. Any capable son who fails to support his parents will be forced in thereafter to eat his own flesh. Indeed, any person who does not maintain and nourish those under his care, children, wives, spiritual masters, brahmana, elderly parents, and so on, is simply a living corpse. It was out of fear of Kamsa that we do not serve you, so now please forgive us. Vasudeva and Devaki, overcome with emotion upon hearing these words of Sri Krishna, embraced their sons in ecstasy and shed a torrent of tears. Having thus satisfied his mother and father, Lord Krishna offered Kamsa's kingdom to his maternal grandfather Ugrasena and then arranged for his family members who had fled in fear of Kamsa to return to their homes. Protected by the mighty arms of Krishna and Balaram, the Yadus began to enjoy supreme bliss. Krishna and Balaram next approached Nand Maharaj and praised him for having cared so lovingly for them and other sons. Krishna then said to Nanda, "Dear father, please return to Vraj. Knowing how much you and our other relatives are suffering in separation from us, Balram and I will come to see you as soon as we have satisfied our friends here in Mathura. Krishna then worshipped Nanda with various offerings, and Nanda left overwhelmed with love for his sons. After tearfully embracing Krishna and Balaram, he took the cowherd men and departed for Vraj. Next, Vasudeva and his priests performed his son's rituals of second birth Brahmanical initiation. Krishna and Balaram then went to Garga Muni to take the vow of Brahmacharya celibacy. Afterward, Krishna and Balaram, though omniscient, desired to reside at the home of the spiritual master, and thus they went to live with Sandipani Muni at Avantipur. To teach the proper way to respect one's Guru, Krishna and Balaram served their spiritual master with great devotion as they would a deity of the Supreme Lord himself. Sandipani Muni, pleased by their service, imparted to them detailed knowledge of all the Vedas, together with their 6 corollaries and the Upanishads. Krishna and Balaram needed to hear each subject explained only once to assimilate it completely, and thus in 64 days they learned the 64 traditional arts. Before taking leave of their guru, the 2 lords offered Sandipani Muni any gift he desired. The wise Sandipani, seeing their amazing prowess, requested that they bring back his son who had died in an ocean at Prabhasa. Krishna and Balaram mounted a chariot and went to Prabhasa, where they approached the shore and worshipped the presiding deity of the ocean. Krishna asked the ocean to return his spiritual master's son, and the Lord of the ocean replied that a demon dwelling within the ocean named Panchajanya had taken the boy away. Hearing this, Sri Krishna entered the ocean, killed the demon, and took the shell that had grown in his body. But when Krishna did not find his Guru's son within the demon's belly, he went to the planet of Yamaraj, the Lord of Death. Yamaraj came forward where he heard Krishna blow the Panchajanya conch shell and devotedly worshipped him. Lord Krishna then asked Yamaraj for Sandipani Muni's son, and Yamaraj immediately gave him to the 2 lords. Krishna and Balaram then returned to the spiritual master and presented him with his son, requesting him to choose yet another favor. But Sandipani Muni replied that by having obtained disciples such as them, all his desires were fulfilled. He thus instructed them to return home. Krishna and Balaram traveled to their home by chariot, and upon their arrival, all the citizens became unlimitedly ecstatic to see them, just like persons who have regained a lost treasure. So that was the story of Sandipani Muni, son. So Krishna had actually gone to the ashram of Sandipani Muni to study. And it is said that in 64 days he had learned all the 64 traditional arts. So it is said that after a guru teaches, the disciple is supposed to give him Guru Dakshina or something in return. So Sandipani Muni asked him to bring his dead child back. So Krishna traveled to Yamaloka, and it's actually hearing all these pastimes. It is only to tell us how extraordinary Krishna is. So many people might say and think that Krishna is just like one among us. He's just like one of us person. And people also ask questions like that why is why do God go through difficulties like us? Ram Navami is coming. People ask because Lord Ram also went through a lot of difficulties. So people just generally get confused. They don't understand the supremacy of Krishna. So these pastimes, it is for us to actually understand how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can actually bring to life a child whose life was taken away from Yamraj. So in the beginning of in the first verse, we hear that Prabhupada says in the purport that these are actually explained in Canto 10. But here Uddhava is actually giving us a very brief explanation of all these different pastimes. So I was very briefly hearing what Maharaj had to speak about this. And he was saying that all these pastimes are given in Canto 1, Canto 2, again we are hearing in Canto 3 also the childhood pastimes of Krishna. Because these childhood pastimes of Krishna, they actually help us get attached to Krishna. And it is always said that when we go progressively by hearing Canto 1, Canto 2, Canto 3 and so on and go to Canto 10, then we can actually understand this very, very intimate pastimes of Krishna with the gopis in the right mode. So that is the reason why we are hearing these pastimes so many different times, because it actually helps us to meditate on the supremacy of the Lord. And also the sweetness, actually. Like Krishna's pastimes are extremely sweet inside, in and outside of Vrindavan. So I just thought that I will take 5 more minutes. This is from Burijan Prabhu's book. He actually summarizes these chapters in a very sweet way. So I just thought I will read a few paragraphs from there and then we can discuss more from these two verses. So here he says, this is from Unveiling the Lotus Feet. So Burijan Prabhu says that Vidura's question, this is a summary of chapter 2, 3 and 4 all together. So he says, Vidura's questions about Krishna and his associates cast Uddhava in an ocean of ecstatic longing. He wanted to again be with his Lord, that person he had worshipped since birth. Through his feelings of separation, Uddhava associated with Krishna in ecstasy. Krishna's teaching how to associate with him in separation through the message he asked Uddhava to deliver to the Vraj Gopis. Uddhava now practiced the instructions the message contained and experienced deep ecstasy wrapped in the thoughts of Krishna. Uddhava felt silent, his body stunned. He fell deeper and deeper into ecstasy as he became more and more absorbed in his remembrances, and tears flowed from his eyes and down his cheeks. The great devotee Uddhava gradually returned to external consciousness, regained his composure, and then sorrowfully began replying to Vidura's questions. This is a summary of the second chapter. Now we're going to read a little bit from chapter 3. So Uddhava recounts Krishna's pastimes in chronological order, beginning with his birth in Mathura's prison and how he was immediately carried to Nand Maharaj's pasturing ground. Then in the third chapter, Uddhava describes the Lord's wonderful activities outside Vrindavan, such as killing Kamsa, studying under Sandipani Muni, kidnapping and marrying his first wife, the beautiful and fortunate Rukmini, his heroic marriage to Princess Nagnijiti, his bringing of the Parijata tree from the heaven to please Satyabhama, his killing of Narakasura, his expanding himself to marry 16,100 wives, 108 queens, each present simultaneously with Krishna in their own individual palace. Uddhava also describes how Krishna killed Kalyavana, the king of Magadha, Jarasandha, Salva, Shambara, Vivida, Bana, Mura, Balwala, Dantavakra, and other demons. Then he speaks of the battle of Kurukshetra, by which Krishna fulfilled his desire to relieve the earth from the overburdening of military forces. Regarding Krishna killing demons, many of whom were actually killed by Krishna's associates. Prabhupada notes that Krishna himself is the performer of his devotees' wonderful deeds, which he performs through them as an exchange of love. Finally, Uddhava tells Vidura how Krishna protected Maharaj Parikshit while he was still in the mother's womb, how he gave Yudhishthir the throne, and how the Lord enjoyed his life with many wives in Dwaraka. Within these descriptions, Uddhava also speaks briefly how the Lord wished the Yadu dynasty to leave the world before he himself departed. So that is more like a brief of the second and the beginning of the third chapter, where Uddhava is actually describing the pastimes of Krishna in and outside of Vrindavan. So we'll stop here and see if there is any discussion from these two verses.
Thank you very much, Premarasa Mataji, for the explanation. When you said, in the very beginning, you were talking about Mathura and Vrindavan. What is the difference again? I wasn't quite sure. Now, Vrindavan is in the spiritual world. How about Mathura? Or is Vrindavan still within the material world when the Lord comes down and, I don't know, works out his pastimes?
Actually, Vrindavan is both in the, it's actually in the spiritual world, the Goloka Vrindavan, and Gokula, or where Krishna actually took birth. It is also, it's actually, we can say, it is in the material realm when Krishna appears, but when Krishna is here, it is actually the spiritual realm because Krishna is present.
Even when Krishna is not
it's still the, yeah, because Krishna's pastimes took place. So
they took place here in the material world, but we say they're in the spiritual world because Krishna was present.
Yes, Mataji, but there are few places in the material realm which actually belong, which are part of the spiritual world. Let me say it like that. Like Dwaraka. Dwaraka also, I think we read in the Krishna book sometime back, where it said that like a part of the spiritual world actually manifested here as Dwaraka. So similarly, like Vrindavan, Sweta Dweep, there are few places like that, like even Navadweep. All these places, they are actually part of the spiritual world, which manifest here because to facilitate the pastimes of the Lord.
Okay. And Mathura also?
Yeah, Mathura is also, yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting, Mataji, because in the Bible these stories are there, which tells me that in the Bible they were copied from the Vedas.
Oh.
Yeah, not Krishna, but when Christ was very, very young. He was under the tutelage of the Jews, of course, the different Jews that were there, but he would go into the synagogue and he would preach, and everyone was completely baffled by the fact that he could speak in such a scholarly way, and he was like 12 years old, I think, and he was preaching to all of the learned Sanhedrin and all the Jews of the time who were scholars, and they were like I said, very shocked about this, that someone could know such a thing. And people were saying, oh, could he be the one, could he be the Messiah? And also very interesting here, I'm just letting you know how I'm seeing some of these stories. Of course, we don't ever see Christ killing demons like Krishna does. So this gives you the full understanding, because I think in Christianity it becomes like not folklore. People don't know how to read you'd have to read in between the lines. Nothing is told directly to you. So people make things up, and that's where you get a lot of problems in Christianity, because people are making things up that are not said word for word, in the scripture. And Christ, what's interesting here, I don't know if there's the same age going on here, but Christ gets, he's older. You see, we have books that are missing, so we don't know what happened to Christ between the ages of 13 and 33. But when he comes back at 33, his cousin died, okay? And it reached the village, and they told him, oh, Lazarus is dead. I'm sure you've heard of this Lazarus. Lazarus is dead. And he was very sad because he was too late. He heard the news too late. But actually, he knew, right? And so he went to the village, and everyone was angry with him because they said, now what are you going to do for us? What miracle are you going to show us now? He's no longer with us. So he went into a cave, and where Lazarus was already buried, and they removed the stone, and the stench was horrible. He had been dead already for, I think, 3 days. And he went in there, and he made him rise from the dead. So these stories are very interesting to me. I think they, what I'm hearing from the Vedas, because I think the stories that are in the Bible came from this. It just seems to me, I just feel it, except we don't get the stories about the killing the demons. The only thing Christ ever does, he says, Satan, get behind me. Evil one, get behind me. They never kill him. They can never harm him, really, but they never show him killing them. So it's very interesting that in the Vedas, how come all of a sudden we're seeing so many demons? Or is this just because the pastimes are put together here right now, all together? It's like suddenly he's killing so many,
Yes, Mataji, I think there's whatever Uddhava is describing out of the many, many pastimes of Krishna, whatever he's describing, they are listed here. Yeah.
I'm not sure what you mean, Mataji. I mean, in terms of timing, it seems like right here, you start hearing about the demons being killed. A lot of it right in here. Whereas, so I'm just wondering why suddenly all these, is it just that Uddhava starts telling the stories?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense now. Okay.
Yes, when Uddhava is thinking about Krishna, this is what he's remembering, and that's what he's sharing.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
To show us the power of Krishna and how
Yeah.
amazing he is. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
And it's interesting here, that the Yogamaya potency, it's explained. That was never explained to us in Christianity. So we never understood, how can Christ know what he knows and be taught by all these teachers, and yet he knows everything, and he can actually teach them. But there's never an explanation of Yogamaya potency, nothing like that. So you see, there's a lot missing there.
Yes, Mataji. Actually, these Vedic scriptures are very, very detailed. Actually, they have so many. There's so many. They basically detail out to the very minute details, so we don't have to really speculate anything. Actually, I think that is the reason why it is said that it is descending, like Krishna is revealing himself. That's why it's so detailed. Otherwise, it's very hard for anybody to understand and write any scripture like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's almost so detailed. This is why some people, they freak out. They think, oh, this is just a fantasy. This can't be real, right? The Christians. Because when they hear about Christ, it appears that he's a man. Okay, they see, even though he's God, they don't see him like that. They see him also as flesh and blood. And so I think it just makes it easier to relate it to a human like that. Here, it's so fantastic and unbelievable. They probably just think, well, this is folklore. The Christians are strange when it comes to these things. Oh, how can that be? This cannot be. This is not the reality. It's kind of mentality. This can't possibly be true. Yeah, because they were never given we were never given these types of details. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Mataji, for a very nice class.
Thank you, Mataji. Actually, I didn't say anything much. It was mostly all glory to Srila Prabhupada's nice purports and with Krishna's wonderful pastimes, Mataji.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you researched it, and I mean, that tells us everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are pastimes. I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very nice stories, actually. Yeah. But I mostly of everything that I read today, the main point that I liked is the one that Maharaj was making. Like he was sharing how these pastimes are mostly for us to get attached to Krishna. That's why they are so many different times and in so many different ways they're being explained in different parts of Bhagavatam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that by the time one reaches 10th canto, then they are ready to actually hear the more confidential pastimes of Krishna. So it's more for us to prepare ourselves and and it's mostly that I'm just repeating the same point that hearing, the more we hear about Krishna, I think the more we remember him and the more we can actually get attached to his feet. So, yeah.
And I think I need to hear these stories many times, as I've told you, because you probably have said many times to me, oh, don't you remember we read this in Canto 1? No. I know I did read it, but I can't remember the story. I need to hear it again and again and again before it sticks. Some of the stories, not all of them, but some of them.
Yes, Mataji, because also I think that we have so many new names also. So yeah, I think it takes a while for us to remember. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else would like to say anything? If not, then we can end here and continue again tomorrow.
Thank you, Mataji. It was really very nice class and the stories.
Yeah, we can thank Udava Mataji. He's bringing all the stories, nice stories to our memory. Yeah.
If I may ask, what happened to Manasi Ganga? I haven't heard. Is she not going to be in class?
Mataji, I also haven't heard from her. I'm not sure. I just heard that her health isn't good. So maybe my sister has more details, but I don't really know
Okay.
like how her health is right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm concerned because she wasn't on class last week, Friday, and your sister did the schedule for the week and everything.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
not on there. So I was concerned. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, I was also concerned, but like last time I sent her a text, I didn't hear from her, so I just thought that I will just wait until, instead of trying to, ask her repeatedly, I just thought I will just wait and see if some other devotees Mataji is talking to can just update us about her health. Yeah,
Okay.
so then I will write back, yeah. Yeah. Okay, Mataji, so shall we end here?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else on the call except Govardhan Leela Mataji and Rishali Mataji? Anyone else? Okay. Doesn't look like anyone else joined today. Okay, Mataji. So we'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.